There we go.
All right. What's happening, music man?
Not much. Not much. My wife might join us here in a little bit. I figured we get her take on the whole racing thing. She was a big part of my racing career.
Yeah, for sure. I welcome her on. We are recording. I'd like to just jump right into it as usual.
Oh
And
yeah.
so I think we talked about 81 weeks ago. I've been doing one a week, and yours was in the 30s, maybe. I think this would be the EricSwahnRacing.com podcast number 120 with Bob Sawicki and maybe his wife. So thanks for coming on, talking to me again, and getting a recap.
Yeah.
So
How do you like the track marshalling thing you were doing?
yeah, it's been fun. I would say don't count on it as a career option
Right.
because you can do it every weekend. It just doesn't pay a whole lot. So it can't be your only thing. And I think I did it a little too much.
Yeah.
And some of them were completely unpaid volunteer gigs like Formula One and IndyCar and MotoGP, which I'm super happy to have done, but it
That's an,
hurts. It hurts the pocketbook. It's an investment with flying across the country
yeah.
and plane tickets and hotel and a lot of times I did it as cheap as possible. So I just fly down there with a backpack and a tent in my backpack and a little stuff sack for a pillow with your clothes in it or underwear and socks. And then I would walk from the airport in the case of COTA, Circuit of the Americas, walk from the airport to the racetrack. And it's tough doing that, but it can be done. So yeah, I would not discourage anybody from trying it. I would say
Did you
uh,
do a cross race at all, or?
I did one motocross. I did AMA District 14 at Grattan, one of the last time ever that they had the Grattan race, and that was cool. Got paid for doing that one with all the guys and the gals of the Marshals, and it was a cool gig. But I guess Grattan Raceway motocross track is going away. That's what the rumor is.
Yeah, that sucks. That
Um,
last year, they never really drew any big crowds, and I don't understand why. It's a great track.
yeah, I've
Super.
heard it's one of the best tracks in the country. Same goes for the road racing course, but the facilities could be maybe a little bit better. But
Yeah.
I would say, or I heard the rumor is that there's a group of investors that are going to demolish that all and build 8 condos there, kind of like the Audubon Country Club, and then
Okay.
have an opportunity for more people to buy into it and have it like more of become an upscale, more type of place where they can really put some housing there and garages and market it that way.
Well, anything they can do to get that place repaved.
That'd be nice. Everybody complains about the sealer strips, and when you're crossing on the pavement, that's not always the most fun thing.
Remember the first year I started racing, they had a national. I think the not first year I was racing, it was my first track day. They had a national the weekend before. Andy Kraft crashed and blew his wrist apart.
Yeah, that was a I wouldn't say career-ending injury, but it took him out for a little while and multiple surgeries later. And when I was racing against him, he was complaining about it, saying he doesn't have the full use of his range of motion on his throttle hand, which that's one that you need to have good. It's you don't see very many people switching the throttle to the left side.
No, no. And now he's I think he's doing mountain bike racing now, I
Yeah, he's
believe.
killing it in mountain biking. He's winning races. I'm not sure if he's going for like a championship right now or if he's like just doing one-off races. I saw he went up to the Iceman Cometh, which is a huge race in Michigan.
Warm Thomas. That was like super warm this year.
Yeah, it was no ice at all. It's I just took a little walk today. It was like 61 degrees or something.
Yeah. It was 76 here yesterday.
That's amazing. It might snow tomorrow. Who knows?
Supposed to. It's what the weather says,
Is it
unfortunately.
really? Oh, I thought it was just, Michigan. It's 4 seasons in one day. You never know what it's gonna happen.
Exactly. Did have you raced that Iceman race at all?
No, I haven't done the Iceman. That's a little above my threshold for pain. Usually, it's the best guys in the country are coming for that race. And they have a purse. I hear. So I wouldn't finish in the top 100 probably, but I enjoy doing it. I enjoy riding, but this year I've been slacking. I've been doing so many other things. My mileage is way down. I might have like 250 miles this year. Usually I do at least 1,000, 1,500 miles of cycling and running. So I've been doing a lot of other things like the marshaling and coaching. So it takes up some time. That's my excuse.
Have your new track bike up for sale already?
Yeah, so I just bought a 2008 Kawasaki Ninja ZX6R from my buddy, and it's ready to go, race ready. Nothing wrong with it. Just some small blemishes here and there that don't really matter. Um, I got a job offer. I got two job offers, and I'm taking both of them. One of them's part time, the other's more full time, but they'll work with me with my schedule. And so I'm planning on moving out to Vegas.
Nice.
And maybe January, mid January. So I'll be here for like 2 months and a day, I think, if everything works out. So it's things are starting to move fast, and I go back to Vegas in about a week, just for a week, right after Thanksgiving, from like the 28th to the 7th of December, and test it out, like do a full test run, see if I really want to move 2,000 miles across the country because that's not cheap.
Right.
And
Right.
so selling this bike and my entire setup would help me pay for all that. And although I'd love to, I don't plan on going full racing after just moving across country for the next year or so, get my bearings straight, get my money right. And both jobs will be racetrack jobs. So I'll be on track anyways, coaching people. The one in Vegas is an exotic racing car coaching company.
Oh wow.
So I'll be on track coaching people like every day, 364 days out of the year in like Ferrari, Lamborghini, Porsche, Maserati, McLaren. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess I'm going to move across the country for that. And
Yeah.
then the other one is for really well-known motorcycle coaching company that they operate in like 6 countries and 11 states. So I don't plan on going. I would love to, but don't plan on going overseas just yet. I think I got to get really vetted before I do that and maybe learn some new languages. I don't know. But definitely we'll be going to about 10 or 11 states next year for motorcycle coaching. So it's like, well, I'm going to, and they provide a motorcycle. So I don't need this motorcycle I just bought. So if anybody's looking for it, I have a Generac generator, pit canopy, pit table, everything that you need to go racing except a tow vehicle, and my leathers and a toolbox. But my trailer's for sale, my motorcycle's for sale. I'd love to sell it all as one package. I have 13 takeoff tires. I don't want to part out the bike, but I'll separate the package if anybody's interested. Today is November 11th, 2022. So if you're watching this a little later, it's probably still for sale unless I've taken it down.
Did you put it on Sport Bike Track Times Classifieds?
It's on the STT forum. It's on the Wera forum. I posted it on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist in Metro Detroit. I'm in Sterling Heights, Michigan. So yeah, just trying to get my money out of it now. If it seems like such a shame. I was just borrowing it from my friend, and then I got this opportunity. I'm like, oh well, now what?
You only
So
live once. You only live once.
yeah. So have you ever moved across the country, or you always stayed in Michigan?
I'm originally from the Utica area, right by where you live.
Yeah.
But Heather's lived in Texas for a while. I've pretty much bred and spread right here. That's okay.
Hey Heather, nice to meet you.
You.
So tell me about your move. Was it hectic? Was it for work or for pleasure or just a new scenery?
It was for work. I worked for Shell Oil Company for a seismic crew. We were based out of Gaylord, and we all moved to Houston.
Okay.
Yeah, I was there for almost 6 years.
And that's a totally different climate than northern Michigan.
It
Culture.
it was. Yeah, I was introduced to phenomenal foods. Yeah, and culture, art, and coming back here was more of a culture shock than going there.
She's
Okay.
still.
Yeah.
I would call this Jack Pine Savage Country because I'd go to the store and here and could not buy lamb or cilantro
Really?
or
It's getting better.
it's changed. I mean, this was
25, 26 years, 27 years
that
ago.
was 87.
88 when you moved out there, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a while ago.
it was a long time ago, but yeah.
So I'm
It was-
looking forward to I'm looking forward to, like, I speak Spanish pretty well. I wouldn't say I'm fully fluent, but maybe about half fluent if you can measure it. And so going to Nevada, right on the border of California, is pretty cool because it's really close to Mexico. When I went down there, you go into a normal store or shop and they just automatically speak Spanish. I'm like, this is great. I could practice all day and get better just by moving somewhere different.
Well, I took French in high school, so
Okay.
moving to Houston and knowing French
Yeah.
zero.
Very good. And did they pay for your travels, or was it all out of pocket for you?
No, they did. They did pay for me.
Self treated you pretty good back then.
It was hard. I'm an only child, and moved down there basically by myself. I was there for several months before the whole crew came. So it was really, really hard, but I grew up.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I had lived on my own before, but moving there, you're an adult, you know.
You got to
have
grow
a-
up real fast.
You do. I wouldn't change it for anything.
No.
The experiences that I had there were awesome.
That's
you
good
know.
to hear. It's encouraging anyways. It's like a big decision, moving across the country, and you know, most of your friends won't be over there, but I think I'm okay with being on my own. I'm okay. I wouldn't say a loner, but you know, I'm okay with I'm comfortable with myself.
Right.
And
Anybody who's put in tent as much as you have this past summer, you got
yeah, and most of the time when you're going to all these new racetracks, I don't know everybody, so I'll just go canopy to canopy or tent to tent and like, hey, what's up, guys? I'm Eric. Where are you guys from? And just start conversations, and you meet a lot of people because at the racetrack, people are from all over the place. And so you might not have a ton of racetrack friends in your city. They might be all over the country or all, you know, spread out quite a bit. So I'm kind of used to that aspect.
So that F1 race you marshaled, there's probably a lot of people from other parts of the world, eh?
Oh yeah, from we had in my one corner. I wouldn't necessarily call it a corner. I was at turn 9.5, which was pretty much a straightaway with a kink. It's right where they opened their DRS zone, and we had a guy from Azerbaijan, another one from Austria, and funny enough, another guy from Michigan, and one from Texas. I mean, each post has like 7 people in it, and there's 50 or more posts around the track. So it's tons of people, and there's a lot of people from Montreal. They were trying to get me to go to the Montreal Grand Prix and Marshal there because that's not too far away from Michigan. It's just around the corner. Probably one of the closest races to us, and so they were all you know, voting for that, and talked to a lot of people on the bus. They have like probably I don't know, 15, 20 Greyhound buses full of Marshals.
Oh,
It's wild. And they use 4 different hotels. And if anybody's looking to do it, you don't need much training. I would recommend doing like an amateur race first to get your foot wet. But I just talked to a guy, Tony Danelli. He was a Marshal with me at the MotoGP race. And
that podcast just came out.
yep, just the other day. And you know, it's just it's so cool to meet all these different people and get their stories and what they're doing in their spare time and what they're into. He's really an IndyCar guy. He did the Nashville Grand Prix, the Music City, and just cool getting a different perspective of all these different people. It's like a master class in communication.
Were you able to get into the pits and see any of the cars up close? I mean, that is
Yeah.
like technology forefront right there, man.
Oh, it was great. I mean, the tickets are $900 and I get in for free. You know, and that's just for like general admission, no seat. So
Wow.
they were going as high as VIP, with being not even on the marketplace, like just the standard place where you buy them from, not the third party sellers. VIP was $27,000 for 3 days for one
Oh,
ticket. So that's like you're buying a car. So I took it all advantage as much as I could with walking around the pits. And I guess I wasn't supposed to because I was not a grid marshal, but I have the bib on and the lanyards, and wearing the orange stuff, so you look like you're where you're supposed to be. So they don't really question you.
Marshal or an escape convict. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I don't really know if this is my color. I don't want to be wearing this orange like that. I feel like I'm just walking out of prison or something. But it was still cool. But yeah, walk straight down the pit lane. I actually we had quite a bit of downtime. I was surprised with, and I didn't have the radio. Like there's only one person in your corner who has the radio. So I'm like, okay, well, if you don't need me, I'm just gonna go for a walk. And so I walked all around the track, like in no man's land between the racetrack and where the marshals stand, and then you got the barriers for all the guests and the spectators. So in this no man's land, it travels all the way around the track, whether it's outside or the inside of the track. I tried to do both inside and outside, but by the time I was doing my second lap, um, they had to they were doing some sort of course clearance, and we had to get back to our station, so I had to hustle back. But yeah, it was super cool. You can see all the cars. I mean, I'm walking up, and they have just the roping, the like you see at Lines and Cedar Point. They have those kind of ropes in front of their boxes, but there's all the drivers are in there, all the mechanics, and I'm 10 feet away, and just seeing everything. It's like, wow, this is really cool. So yeah, any motorsports fans who want to do that, you can totally do that. Just gotta sign up at the right times. Then there might be a couple thousand people who apply. So they only take about 500. So if you are looking to do it, that's why I was starting to get all these different credentials with AMA District 14 and WERA and CCS, ARMA, um, North American Talent Cup and MotoGP, and just trying to pad my stats so I could go wherever I wanted. And it works. But Tony, that was his first time ever doing it at the MotoGP event. And I was surprised he got in because he had no prior experience. But there's always a percentage of people who don't show up, like 40 to 50 people, I think, out of 500. So they were a little short, but they were still fine. Like at Coda, they had like turn 11A, turn 11B, 11C, D, E, F. I'm like, how many 11s do we need here? Like they had a Marshal post like every 50 feet. I was like, this is kind of excessive, but if we got the people, why not?
where were you at on Coda?
I was at turn 11, so I think I'm saying it right. Right before you go onto the long back straightaway. And a lot of crashes there, a lot of incidents. People are pushing the front, coming into it, and high siding coming out. And I know this as a racer, being to so many tracks, but the elevation on TV does not do justice. It actually goes down quite a bit, coming out of 11, to where we can't even see them for a second. It goes down that much. So then they reappear as they're going up to 200 miles an hour down the straightaway. 212, I think.
Or any kind of video doesn't really bring out the depth of some of that. Because I know, like Laguna Seca, I've been there before, and how steep the corkscrew is amazing.
It's like what, 8 stories drop in a couple hundred feet.
Yeah, I was out there for the '93 GP.
Okay.
Pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I haven't been to Laguna Seca yet, and definitely on the list though. It's an iconic circuit. It's up there with like Silverstone, in the Nürburgring. It's probably one of the most famous tracks in the world.
Yep. And Valentino didn't like it.
Well, didn't he get beat there? Or no, he beat Casey there.
Yeah, that was what's the word I'm looking for? That was his move on Casey wasn't the smoothest.
Yeah, right in the dirt. He could have gotten track limits warning for that one.
Right. All right. But he gets away with that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So.
Valentino. But
I asked
so
Heather so she could, because she can kind of, I think that maybe her point of view on racing is a little bit different than probably some of the interviews you've had, since she was a supporter,
yeah,
basically my financial advisor. So when we were racing, well, when we first got married, I was racing motocross. So that's all she knew until 2008 when I started doing track days and stuff. So she really welcomed going to the track and not getting dirty. So, and then she found out how expensive it was, and we had kids. We still have kids, of course, but so raising a family and still trying to race was, it was tough. It was kind of tough priorities or prioritizing what we had to do. Because we never did anything on a credit card. We always made sure I saved everything during the winter to race the 4 or 5 times in the summer.
Yep.
But that's what you have to do with family. So there's a lot of times that she reeled me back in because I was like going way out, getting a little crazy. So because that's what guys do,
You just want to do all the rounds everywhere. And sometimes the pocketbook doesn't allow it. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. This is team no debt racing over here. I did put things on credit cards, but always paid them right off. Never went over, and that's why I stopped when I did, because I was like, oh, this isn't looking good. This is going the opposite direction. And even with 20 sponsors, it wasn't enough at the time. I mean, most of them were, as you know, parts and discounts and free stuff, which is nice. It really helps. But it doesn't, you're not getting those 6-figure checks like you really would want.
Yeah.
I was getting local businesses to give me money just to get signups and stuff like that. Because it's expensive. Back then, it was $1,000 a weekend just for racing one class. I mean, it was getting down there, sign up, and the transponders, all that stuff. And then, of course, back then we didn't have a motorhome or anything, so we had to get a hotel room, and it's expensive, and it adds up quick. And then if you don't have good tires, you're screwed pretty much. And I never had really good tires, so I had a disadvantage right off the bat. But
and a lot of times people go through multiple sets of tires every weekend depending on how much they're racing. So I would always use like 2 rears and a front tire every weekend, every 3 days. It's like, how often can I do this if I'm going through $600 in tires before you even get to your entry fees? And that's all before or assuming you don't crash.
Yeah, or mechanicals or anything. Yeah.
For sure. So what's it like being someone who's not on the bike, wondering like, is he going to come back? Is he going to crash? Like, were you always scared about the danger aspect or the financial aspect?
The danger aspect, not so much. There's no one that I trust more on a bike than this man.
That's fair.
I would always say a prayer before a race, and people would say, oh, are you hoping he wins? And I said, no, I just want him home safe.
Realistically, we just want him to finish.
Just come home with a shiny bike.
No, he worked hard to save his money to do this. And the fact that we did not finance it was awesome. Because it's, win or lose or whatever.
She knew, and I knew that there's no chance in hell I was ever going to go anywhere. It was just for fun.
Just a hobby.
My passion.
Yeah.
And I was very thankful that she let me chase that passion. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of married people that do it then feel the same way. I feel very lucky that I was able to do what I do. In fact, still feel very lucky that she lets me do what I do because
Look around us.
Is this a man cave?
this is
Yes.
the music room.
This is the music room.
I gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. It's not every couple is like that. Some of them are like, I don't want you to do that. You need to sell your motorcycle. I'm like, well, you're not the right one for me.
But when we first started, when we knew we were getting married, I told her off the bat, we're always going to have a bike payment.
Yeah.
So
And does Heather ride?
Not really.
No.
Not really.
Ever ride on the back of it?
Oh, yes. But not, yeah. I'd rather have something a little more comfortable to
Right.
Like
lay
old
down,
Wayne, she wants like a couch to ride on.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
take a nap, so I need a full dresser, something.
Yeah.
Yeah, the day I brought
Yeah.
home my '08 R6, she was pretty pissed. She goes, what the hell? I go, what? I go, we can ride this together. And you know how the pillion is. It's a little tiny.
I mean, it's just a little bitty seat.
Yeah, it didn't go over good.
And
Yeah.
we went for a ride. We got dressed, went for a ride. And he accelerated, kind of hard. And
She almost slid off.
I almost slid off and I reached back to grab something. There's nothing there.
Just a little tiny strap, right? That's about it.
Yeah. And so I tapped him. I said, we're going home now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And I never got back on it.
No, he didn't. Nope.
Yeah. But see, to be fair, he was buying a bike for us.
Yeah.
That was my angle.
It's a good pitch.
Yeah. No, I'm the pit girl.
Yeah.
So
We had it right down to a science.
yeah. Yeah.
That's all right. I can understand that. I've rode on the back of a bike only a handful of times. And as a rider myself, I'm like, oh, I wouldn't have done that. Oh, no, I wouldn't have taken that move. And it's just like without having that control in your hands, it feels to me like I didn't think the other rider was a bad rider. I thought he was a pretty good rider, been riding for years, but I was like, oh, that's it made me so nervous because I'm like, I'm not in control. I can't do anything. I can't like talk to him really. You can yell, but he might not even hear you. So it just, yeah, you just don't have that control. Makes me nervous.
No, I love to watch him ride, and I'm content just being the pit girl.
She hasn't been to a motocross race since 2019.
Okay.
And she's all right with it.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's
Yeah,
what
I'm
we
fine.
did. I was racing quite a bit back then when we first got together. And everybody goes, well, how come Heather's not here? I go, she's done her time. She's done.
She knows what it's about.
20 some years.
So when we started road racing, the first thing she said when we got home from one, she goes, I don't have any dust boogers. I go, no.
Yeah, I know what that is about. If it's you have a shield on or a full face helmet and you got the goggles, but you still have this huge open face for wind and air that you don't quite have on a sport bike. And I've been riding my supermoto on the street. On the highway, it hurts even when there's like little specks of dust or rocks flying up or the rain. It's like it hurts to wear this helmet.
Yeah. Have you taken that to the track yet?
Oh, yeah, the supermoto. There's a couple of tracks at Clio, Michigan, just north of Flint. Auto City Speedway. There's Jackson, Michigan is a great one. Jackson has a kart track pavement. It has a flat track oval, and they have a motocross section that Will just built for Great Lakes Supermoto. And so we loop them all together into one lap, and it's wild. Having 3 different disciplines in one lap, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. This is wild. But yeah, it's it's a whole new beast. You need a different body position. Uh, we're all on slick tires or DOTs, so no knobbies are allowed because of the pavement. You just fall over if you try to have any sort of lean angle. Um, but yeah, I've been learning a lot. I did like 4 track days on that bike this year, and did a few last year on Will's bike and other bikes. He's got a Husqvarna 450, the FS 450 full send. He's got the Cowie 250 and the yeah, like an XR 100. But mine is the Kawasaki KLX 300 Supermoto. So it's technically a 292 cc. They round up to 300. But it's a pretty capable bike. I bought it to do the MSF, Motorcycle Safety Foundation coaching. So
Oh yeah.
I'm a coach for them now. And
That's what I want to do when I retire. That's my
Mhm.
retirement job.
yeah, it's a pretty cool job. I did, I think, 8 weekends this year, and I got an award for the most amount of classes taught by a 22 graduate rider for the class. So did the most amount for anybody who did that, who got certified this year. So I never thought I'd be a public school teacher, but I'm employed by Macomb Community College and Schoolcraft Community College for that.
Nice.
So just
I got a buddy that does that at Saginaw, and he
Yeah.
always has great stories for me.
oh, there's some crazy riders there that it's like, oh my goodness, you maybe pass the test, but I don't think you should go out riding yet. You're like, you still have to be. I say to them, you're parking lot certified. You shouldn't go out on the highway and go 80 miles an hour. Although some people then claim, well, when you're on the highway, everybody's going the same direction. Hopefully, everybody's like generally doing the same thing. There's not cars coming in and out at intersections. So yeah, you're right there, but things go by a lot faster at 80 miles an hour than they do at 20. So yeah, I'd recommend it. It's a cool gig. It's totally different than racetrack stuff. Obviously, you're not really getting out of second gear. A lot of the bikes are kind of clapped out, kind of like they've been down 50 times and it looks like it. And so as long as the throttle's not sticky and the brakes work, they're like, all right, it's good.
I was going to help Daryl, and a couple years ago, help him get him ready to, they could use them for that one spring. But yeah, and it didn't end up going. But he told me they're pretty rough. I go, well,
Yeah.
I like your bikes. I get it.
And I say, if you can ride this, you can ride anything, because most bikes are going to be a lot easier than this to ride. But they have like some Nighthawks, some 250 Nighthawks, Hondas. They have what is the brand? The Z125 Kawasaki. It's like the Gram equivalent. And I would say it seems like on paper the Z125s would be a great bike to learn on, but I don't think they are, because the clutch is such a small window of operation that it's so far out, and then when it gets to start to pull, then it's just people drop it and then they stall the bike 100 times. So it's hard for people to get where that clutch bite is. I started out, what is it, 16 years ago or so on my dad's, probably 17 years, on my dad's Kymco People 250 scooter. It was a CVT. It went like 87 miles an hour. It was not slow. It was pretty quick for a scooter. And then it would start to just shake a whole lot because it doesn't have a lot of stability. But it was like you step through, you put your feet in front. I rode that for 2 years. I rode his bike. I rode it probably more than he rode it. And then I upgraded to a Ninja 250, which finally had the clutch. And I think that's a great bike to start on. Now they're probably the Ninja 300s, Ninja 400s would be my go-to bike. What's your thought on people starting on anything bigger than a lightweight bike?
Okay, so my opinion of the classes used in those little Z125s, I don't think that's right. I think they should have full size wheels.
Yeah. Yeah.
As far, I know, like other countries, you got to like graduate up to different bikes, different sizes bikes in your driver's license, whatever. I think it works.
Yeah, I think there's like a graduated licensing program in Europe.
I think that should be something that should, my opinion is they need to maybe incorporate that here. Because there's a lot of road that should be riding, man. They're pretty bad.
Yeah. And it's not that you can't learn or get better, but when you start out on a Gixxer 1000 or a Hayabusa, you're just asking for trouble. It's like you have a bike that's as fast as a Ferrari with
Mm.
no fucking skill at all. And you don't know what you're doing and you think you're hot shit. And it's like, that's just not good. I mean, I'm sure there's some people who can handle it, but from my experience, you will learn a lot faster on a smaller bike than you will on a bigger bike. When are you going to need to go 180 miles an hour on the street?
Yeah, right.
You
I
never.
know. I can speak for myself on this. I went a long time without even having a cycle endorsement.
Yeah, that's pretty common now. We have people come all the time. I taught somebody, got his license. He's been riding for 7 years, riding dirty on the street. Like, how did you not get pulled over? Like, how did how did you do this?
At a motorcycle dealership, and never had my endorsement.
Wow.
So yeah, it was time. I go, man, I better go. And actually, I rode my bike up to the thing.
Yeah.
But
Not ideal. And the stats are not good. I think in Michigan, it depends on the year, but 30 to 50% of the fatalities from motorcycles are from unlicensed riders.
oh my god, really?
It's very high. So, and it's not like it's super expensive or a hard thing to do. Like the MSF course, I took it. That's how I learned. So maybe I'm a little biased, but it's like a 3-day weekend. You do a classroom on Friday, and now it's an e-course. So it's all done pretty much online. And then you come in, and what I did is teach in the parking lot Saturday, Sunday, where we go through a acclimation with the bike. We go through all the controls. This is where the horn is, everything. This is the kickstand, like basic stuff. And then you get on the bike and we teach you how to ride, and we do drills. It's like $50. When I did it, it was $25, and now it's only 50, 15 years later. It's amazing how cheap it is. And
I did the 1 day course, whatever, where the morning was the classroom and the afternoon was all the out in the parking lot stuff.
yeah,
So they knew me and used me as an example. So I had to do everything first for everybody.
yeah, we always try to pick somebody who's a good rider, put them in front, because it's amazing. We talk about it, like we have a diagram in front of us reading off our cards. Like we talk about the exercise, then we demo the exercise, and then they do the exercise, and then people just get lost. I'm like, were you not paying attention? Like, and then they're like eighth or ninth in line. All these people went before them, and they're like, where do I go? Like, oh, this is not going to be a good student.
Now, do you think that the fatalities are more on the rider side or on a vehicle?
So, one of the things we say in the program is you are your own best advocate. You are the only person out on the road who's going to be able to save your life. So I would say probably 90% of the time, motorcycles crash, and it's especially at the racetrack. I don't know about the street, but for the racetrack, for sure, it's almost 100% of the time it's a one rider incident, right? The rider makes a mistake and they crash. I could probably say the same thing for the road too, but now you got all these different variables in place. So I think a lot of it is people not knowing what to do, or knowing like defensive driving techniques is a big one that I see. Or people will even in cars, they'll just drive in someone's blind spot for miles. I'm like, why would you do that? They don't understand. Like, if I would rather get a ticket any day of the week for speeding and to get out of those blind spot situations than to stay in someone's blind spot for more than a half a second. And so people aren't paying attention, maybe, or they're not seeing a car that's sideways, like creeping out of a driveway, and they're just looking over here. They didn't think that was a problem, and then they pull out. And a lot of these riders aren't skilled enough to know how to brake fully or swerve in the right way. So their skills are low, and they're taking high risks is a big one. I used to ride in big groups, big group rides with sport bikes, and that just gets crazy in a heartbeat because everybody's trying to show off and showboat and do wheelies, and then your wheels up 3 feet and the car pulls out. Now what are you going to do? Now you don't have any other choice. It's very unlikely you're going to save that. So I was never a big stunter on the street. I try to go in parking lots and industrial complexes and do that stuff away from the prying eyes of everybody. But yeah, I think most of the time it's the rider's fault. Now I've been riding, I couldn't tell you, thousands and thousands of miles, most of them on the track now. But I did get hit by a car one time riding my motorcycle. And I was going up to school. It was probably 5 miles from my house. That's where most crashes happen, right? And I was paying attention, but it was cold. It was like I just reposted it. It was like 12 years ago. It came up in my memories on Facebook. But I was in the right-hand lane. It was a 4-lane road with a separated median and 4 lanes going the other way. Guy was in the lane next to me, up ahead of me, and no signal. He decides to pull into the CVS parking lot, and I'm sort of I was behind him, not really in the blind spot, but didn't look at all, and I had nowhere to go, and it was a big SUV. Luckily, I didn't go down. I broke as much as I could. And then I was like, okay, I guess I'm following him into the parking lot, and dented his door in pretty good with my knee. But I didn't fall down. He kept going. He pulled into the parking lot and then saw I didn't die and then took off. And then so I'm like, I'm not following a guy. I'm not gonna chase this guy down who just hit me once. What's he gonna do the second time he sees me, right? So I just kind of let it go, and I was like checking over the damage on my bike, and it's just a mirror, got pushed in, and some body work was a little scratched up, but it could have been a lot worse. And at that time, I had been riding on the track, and I knew how to brake hard and turn and like not overload the front tire. I could have been underneath the SUV very easily. So it happens quick. What's that?
That on your Ninja 250?
That was, I upgraded. I think that was on the 636, the Cowie 636, probably '06 at that time.
We're fast.
It was it was a fast bike. And I really stopped riding on the street not long after that. I got in trouble with speeding quite a bit, and found out that at a certain speed, they don't just give you a ticket, they take you straight to jail. So yeah, well, it was considered well, they said it was reckless, but I knew what I was doing.
I hope you didn't argue that with them.
No, they said
It wasn't being reckless.
how I tell it most of the time now is like they clocked me at 77 over in the 70. Okay. So I usually say 77, and they say they took you to jail for 77? No, 77 over. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing that. I still see guys on social media posting videos of them flying through the road all the time. Like, why? Like, one thing I think about a lot is like sometimes you go to the racetrack even in advance and you're like, what is this guy doing? Okay, this is a guy who's been to the track for probably a dozen times to get to that level and pretty skilled. Now you have people on the street who don't know nothing about this track or how to go fast or how to be safe, and you're whizzing by them over 70 miles an hour faster. Where they could just make a mistake. They're texting. That's so prevalent now. It's like you see so many people on their phone or eating a cheeseburger or eating soup. I'm like, what are you doing that?
Yeah,
it's wild.
Yeah. A lot of crap like that. It drives me crazy.
You're just putting your life at risk, and someone makes a tiny mistake and swerves over, and you're gone. A person I just was talking to getting on this podcast literally just died like 2 days ago. And she got hit by a truck, and that's it. And it's like, oh man, I just talked to her like a week ago.
Oh man.
So it sucks. I never met her, but things happen all the time if you're not super careful. And even if you think you know what you're doing, you're a track racer, try to do it on the street, you don't have the same heat in your tires, you don't have, the same runoff. I always say take it to the track.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
I got a buddy that used to race and actually helped me get started road racing. He's really big into touring right now. And he came up this past summer, and he's got a new FJR 1300 and all that. So I took him for a ride, and I go down the road and I feel like all the cars are aiming for me. It's like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
That's a nice bike, dude. I go, I'm not riding it again. I'm
Yeah.
done.
I won't get on the road
No.
any longer.
I'm a little bit excited for autonomous vehicles taking over all the idiots who are behind the wheel, because they say it could help save 30,000 lives a year. And if you have computers driving, I mean, computers never crash, right?
Yeah. Never. Good.
But it should be better. I think it's going to be better. I hope.
Well, it can't hurt.
Can't get worse. I don't think it's going to be worse.
I don't
But
know.
that's for another 20 years. That's not really happening anytime soon. And I think Tesla even put out a statement like they took back one of the options for full self-driving cars. I don't think they found that it's going to be harder than they thought to make it full self-driving. So yeah, there are, like, my uncle has a car who, it's like I don't know, a Ford Escape or something. It's an SUV hatchback type of car, and it's got like lane change assist. It'll, if you're coming over, it'll push you back. It's got all these different electronic aids. It's got like this cruise control where it's adaptive cruise, so it'll speed up or slow down based on the cars in front of you. It's like you're just along for the ride at that point.
Pretty much.
So I fall asleep at a drop of a hat in a car, so that just makes me want to sleep even more. I'm okay.
Yeah. Maybe one day.
So when you go to Las Vegas, are you still going to do your podcast and all that, or?
Yeah, I'm going to try to still do the podcast. Schedules are going to change and the times I do it are going to change. But yeah, the goal is to keep doing it once a week until I die, basically. I don't know. I mean, it's something that doesn't really cost any money. I've had this mic for a while, just got it hooked up finally. I'm kind of disappointed. I have a pretty nice camera behind this camera, and I can't get it to work right because apparently you need a HDMI capture card, which I bought, and it'll work for like 60 seconds and then die on me. So I just bought a new one. It's coming tomorrow. And I got to return the old one. It's only like $20, so maybe that's why it's not working right. I bought the cheapest one I could find, but yeah, the costs are relatively low. I'm starting to get ad revenue. I'm starting to make money doing it. I mean, pennies, but it's going up. I think maybe $20-$30 I've made so far on ads. So it's a small amount, but
You've been at it you've been pretty persistent. So,
yeah. Yeah,
kinda,
one a week for the last 2.5 years or so. 120th episode. I hope I'm getting better at speaking as I stutter right there. But and one thing I'm trying to get into now is now that I have the good mic and audio interface set up, is doing narration or audiobook reading and like voiceovers. So I did my first audition. I didn't get it, but it was just for an audiobook, and they pay pretty well if you get the part. Like you have to get chosen for that piece, but I'm sure one of these times, one of my auditions, I'll get it. And sometimes it's like $50 to like $400 an hour. Sometimes like you have to be editing and splicing it together. And I was doing it and like, oh, I had a great paragraph, and then the last word I screwed it up. I got to redo the whole thing, So it has to be perfect, right? If you're doing it for a paid thing. Some of the gigs are like commission based, so they'll pay you X amount, and then based on how well the book sells, you get more money for that. I don't know. I'd love to do broadcasting for racing, motorcycle racing, or car racing, but I think that's such a hard thing to get into. I did interview or podcast with Jamie Howe, who's a reporter for Moto America. And she sent me like this internship link for NBC or ABC or maybe Fox. I don't know. I think it's Fox. And so that's like an unpaid gig. I'm like, I can't do that. I can't afford to just volunteer my time for 6 to 8 months or a year to maybe get a job. So I'm trying to create my own job by putting myself out there first and seeing what opportunities I can find.
You think being out, out in the Las Vegas area that will give you a better opportunity to find things like that? Or
Maybe. I mean, I'm just gonna keep doing it until, like, for me, I podcasted with a guy, Dustin Apgar, who passed away, and it's like I'm so happy that I was able to talk to him and have that recorded. It's like a moment in time that you can never get back to. And so I look back on some of my podcasts from over 2 years ago now. It's like, wow, I didn't know what I was doing back then. And like 5 years from now, I'll think that about myself today, and I just hope I get better, and that people are still listening. That's a big thing. Like, try to get the retention up. And I've been just trying to go down different rabbit holes, because now with these two jobs, it's like I need something in the meantime that doesn't tie me down to any one place. So this is another thing that I can do that won't force me to be in one area. So I don't know what the opportunities are in Vegas. I know it's close to California, and there's tons of acting and things in California. And it's basically, yeah, it's basically like a voice acting position, because sometimes they want you to do, can you do an accent, or can you do funny voices? I'm like, I don't know. I've never really tried to do those. I just want to speak in my regular voice. But if you're reading a book and there's different characters, you might have to do different voices.
Oh yeah, and that's fun.
Yeah, it's just like you're playing around, but your words have to be perfect. And I was reading like the audition before, and I skipped the word "the." I'm like, oh no, I was just glancing over it too fast. So you got to like know the material and then read it. So I might be doing a lot of reading.
That's cool, man.
That's awesome. That's really interesting.
Yeah, something new. I'm just trying to go down these roads, and I never was one to want to have like a normal job. It's just, I mean, I'm good at it. I can be a good office worker. It's just that's not where my passion lies. That's not what makes me happy at the end of the day. So I'm trying to find things I can do that I enjoy, things that are fun to do, and just see what roads I can go down. All these different rabbit holes.
That's cool. Life is short. You're doing it right, I think. I mean, you're
Absolutely.
doing it all this experience. You're getting life experience I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I got something over here. I'll grab it real quick. I did a podcast with a guy, Jason Wojo, of Life and Air, and he sent me these cards. I don't know if you can see it. Thanks for being on the Life and Air show.
Oh.
And I'm like, man, I don't do stuff like this. He sent me a sticker pack. Like, I need to start upping my game on the thank yous for my guests. But yeah, he gave me like a Life and Air stickers and a t-shirt, and this is crazy. He gave me Get a Life Getaway. Unfortunately, I have other things going on. I won't be able to attend, but he has conferences, and it's for creating the life you really want. This one's Get a Life Getaway, and the other one's a Business Builder Workshop tickets, and they're like $1,000 a piece. I got 4 of them. But one's in Raleigh, North Carolina, December 8th through the 10th. And the other one was October 20th to 22nd in Dallas. But he's got a business. I met him at the racetrack, of all things, just from talking to people. And yeah, we were just talking about what we were doing at lunchtime. And he's like, man, I got to get this guy on my podcast. So he came on mine, and then I went on his. And you can see it at lifeandair.com, I think it is. And he just tries to build other people their life of their dreams. Like, what does your ideal life look like? And then, well, how do we make a business help fund that lifestyle? It's like most people think about a business and then their lifestyle comes secondary, but his is kind of the opposite. And he calls it Life and Air because it's like millionaire, but you don't need to have $1 million to have a good life. So he kind of replaced it with Life and Air. So it's like, what kind of life are you having? Is that the ideal life you want to have? So he sent me a book as well that he wrote, and his partner Peter, I think. So I'm just trying to instill that kind of idea, or that that lifestyle. You don't need to have $1 million to have a good life, but like, what are you doing on a daily basis that you enjoy? And with you, I see like the music and your SoundCloud stuff. So I wanted to talk about, your music too, because I was just listening to some of it. It sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Some of it's okay. Some of it isn't.
That's all right. you just gotta stop filtering yourself. I know I do too. Like you say, oh, this isn't good enough. I'm not gonna put it out there, but then no one can hear it. It can't get better if you don't have a finished product first.
Right.
So I've been playing guitar since I was like 13 years old.
Okay.
Played in a couple bands in my my late teens and early 20s, and got to the point where we live, it's very cliche in some ways. The cliques. So the people I was jamming with, they were going a route that I didn't want to go. I'm a heavy metal guy. Always been a heavy metal guy, and I love heavy music.
Yeah.
And I wanted to play some songs that some of the guys in the band said, "Well, we'll never be able to play those in bars." I go, "Well," and by right around that time, when I really started getting into racing motocross, so I just later, dudes, I'm doing this, and that's what I did. And I've always had a guitar. There's just I don't know. Once the girls moved out, in fact, this is my youngest daughter's old bedroom. So everything came out of our bedroom and came up here. So
Nice.
and then they're not here, and she's working a lot more now than she always has. So let's come up here and throw some ideas out and put them on SoundCloud. That's kind of what SoundCloud's there for, is just to keep my ideas. And yeah, it's fun. It's a personal thing to me. Playing music is personal. So
Oh yeah. You put a lot of emotion and time and effort into it.
So actually, me putting it onto SoundCloud was kind of a big step. It's like, man, I don't want nobody to hear this crap.
Yeah. I'm glad you did, man. It inspires other people. It inspires me. I'm actually really big into music myself. I think I had my first guitar at about 13 years old. Went through the whole band system in middle school, high school. I did concert band playing the trumpet, and I did jazz band. I did concert marching band. I did piano, and I played like pretty much every instrument that there was, from brass and woodwind. I dabbled with. Did everything but percussion, really. And so years later in college, I mean, I was playing guitar, mostly acoustic. I had electric, but trying to be quiet in the dorm rooms and all that. So I transferred more over to the acoustic. I was never a crazy soloist, but I think that's great to hear. Just wasn't never that talented, but I could pick up a song pretty much in 5 minutes if I had a good ear. I did choir, and I took singing lessons and guitar theory and song and songwriting classes. I even got to do Logic music production, editing, and producing, some of that stuff. So I wrote a whole bunch of songs myself, and I have never put them out there. They're just sitting in a file somewhere, just doing nothing, collecting dust. So,
Something on your, but if we would listen, hell yeah, we'd listen to it. Put it out there, man.
Yeah.
yeah. So I just posted about it the other day. Would you listen to it? And I got like 67% yes. So, I mean, there's only maybe a handful of people who replied, but it was positive. So, yeah, I think I've actually already put it into like the 10-song album format with like the tracks that I want in order. So I think I'm gonna put it on my YouTube channel and Spotify, if not. So I mean, it's already on Spotify through the podcast, but it's well, the podcast is already on Spotify, so I could easily put it on the podcast part. But I'd like to separate it in like Eric Swan's album or something,
Yeah.
That's cool, man. Heck yeah.
So it's nerve-wracking though. It's like, oh, I don't know, is this good? Like my voice isn't great. Like I'm off tempo a couple times, but like I don't have the software anymore to even re-record it. I have different software I could mess with it, but that one had like all different drum tracks and sounds that I could use, and I don't have that package anymore. So it is what it is. I'm not re-recording it for now.
I just put mine in through GarageBand. It's probably about the easiest one out there. Easiest.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but my plan is that I want to start recording with her because she's got a great voice.
That'd be cool. Get a little duo going.
Yeah. I have a couple of things that I wanna do, and some ideas of music that I'd like him to write.
We don't have any kids at the house anymore, so we got all this.
Heck yeah.
But the dogs do not like the drums.
No.
Yeah, that's a problem. I always have to lock my cat upstairs when I do these because otherwise she's meowing. And sometimes like I hear her at the door scratching or even meowing right over there. So it's like, it's not ideal. But you do with what you got. And sometimes if you have that barking, it's like iconic. It's like it was meant to be there. It's not perfect. There's always blemishes. And even on like major productions for major artists, they even say like, oh, I missed that note here, or like nobody cares. Like it's not supposed to be perfect.
Right.
But we
Yeah.
care, right? We want it to be perfect.
So you were in the band system all the way through school, right?
I did fifth grade through 10th grade, and then sports and hockey took over, and I didn't do it 11th and 12th. But yeah, for 6 years I was in band, and my brother was a big inspiration, or is still in different ways. He went through DCI, Drum Corps International, which is it's like professional marching band. He traveled the country for 5 years, playing shows like every other night with this corps, and it's a fairly intense thing. Um, he did Capital Regiment and the Madison Scouts were the two corps that he did. Regiment, I think, for 1 year, and then the Scouts for the last four. So he was a very talented musician, and I was kind of always bummed he didn't go into music as a career. He played the mellophone and the trumpet, and I'm sure all the brass instruments at some point.
Both our dogs were in band all through high school and grade school, and they're very, very musical.
Very talented.
They got out of school and gone.
Nothing. Yeah. Unless you like, I wanted to go into music and like be an artist for a while in college. Like I was getting really good at the guitar and playing every single day for an hour or two or more. And I was like, and trying to do this recording stuff and the recording classes. And at some point I was like, it seems like such a hard career to make it, like to really make it and make it a career. It's like, I don't know that my passion is that hard into it. I mean, I love it, but it just seems so difficult. So I chose something even harder, motorcycle racing.
Yeah. You know who kind of inspired me to put my own music out was Lance Lau. You know who Lance is, right?
Yeah.
He put a bunch of music out, and it was really good. I dug the hell out of it. I actually messaged him about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Are you still making music? He goes, yeah, but I'm just too busy. So it was pretty cool. He put it on Instagram, and everybody, listened to it and commented on it. It was cool. It was really cool.
Yeah. So I'd like to find another avenue where I can just put an album out there on Spotify or something, or it'll definitely be a YouTube video at some point. I don't really have a music video that goes with it, so it'll just be like a picture or something at the background. But
my SoundCloud songs.
Yeah.
Dog in it.
And yeah, I was trying to find all these pictures of me playing the guitar, playing an instrument. Like, man, these are so long ago. I can't even find a photo of me holding the guitar.
Yeah, I got a buddy that I used to race motocross with that is a professional musician.
Oh yeah.
And when I started getting into it again, I would send him like little clips and stuff, and he'd tell me on how to mix it better, because that's an art all in itself. It's just trying to get the production.
And that was something that I found was so tedious. That was something that kind of strayed me away from it, because I was like, man, you are never really done with a song. Like
Right.
it could always have another tweak or another, like make that filler a little louder or make another sound effect over here. And so I always found myself like, I never know when it's done. Like it could still have another month of work. Like just finish it and move on.
What I learned is usually the first 2 or 3 takes is the ones that you just keep.
Yeah.
If it still doesn't sound good, don't do anything with it. Just leave it. So,
yeah. Maybe move on to the next track and come back to it in a couple of days.
it's fun. I'll come up here and it's just stress relief. Get my head in a different area. So, and I'm glad that she lets me, because there's a lot of times I go, I'm gonna go play my guitars for a little bit. She goes, good, get away from me.
Yeah. And I love how even if I'm not playing all the time, I can still play like 90% of the things that I did before, because that muscle memory is just so ingrained in your mind. Your finger just know where to go. And it's like speaking. Like at some point you're just doing it and you're not thinking about what you're doing. And it's
Yep.
like, it's kind of like same thing with riding. It's like you can't really focus on anything else. You have to be focused on what you're doing. And so it is that release. It is like getting your mind off of things because you have to.
That was one of the things that I told Heather was that because I just bought a drum set.
Okay.
I can't play drums to save my ass, but my dad was a professional drummer back in the day, and like, well, if he could do it, I can do it. So I just started trying to play it, and it's not that great.
It takes a while.
Challenge, it's a challenge that
And it's improving every day.
Yeah, it's like when you first started playing guitar, it probably wasn't very good for a while, and then you get slowly better.
that's it. Yeah, I remember first guitar was just a pile of crap Kent
Okay.
that I got from my a buddy, and it only had 2 strings on it. And I didn't know how, I just tuned it, sounded cool. And I plugged it into my stereo. That was my
There you go. Yeah, it's I've had a couple of Tekka minis. I had a couple of Schecters and
Yeah, one check I had for sale. It was about, what, 2 or 3 years ago on there, and I was actually wanted to buy it, and you sold it already.
yeah. Actually I still have that one. That one was well, it might have been a different one. I had a bass I sold for my cousin. I'm not sure what brand that was, but one of the Schecters that I had for sale, something must have happened on my shelf because somebody bought it. I went to ship it. I was like, oh no, it's got like a big chip in it now. So I sent them pictures. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. It's been on my shelf for a year and a half. I'm not sure how this got damaged, but he's like, just refund me. So I kept it. And I mean, it's one of my first guitars ever. So I never really wanted to sell it, but another couple $100. I'm like, all right, I'll see what happens. So
I got a check. Very, very nice guitar.
yeah, I think it's a Hot Rod 39 with diamond edition with like the pearl inlay. It's got like flames through the fretboard. Looks
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
nice. Even with the crack, you can't even really see it. It's on the backside.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they're supposed to be smashed, right? Sometimes at the end of a heavy metal concert, you get a little guitar smashing.
No, those are expensive.
Well, not when you're selling out arenas.
Yeah. No, I Heather goes, how many do you got? I go, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many I got. Everyone sounds different and plays different, and it's just like motorcycles. Every bike's different.
No, yeah.
Something different does something better. Does
And they all have their own unique style and sound. And I had at one point electric acoustic ukulele.
Oh, really?
That was kind of cool. You could plug it in. There's a Lanikai. I think it was like a pretty nice one. And I ended up selling that one. That one did not get damaged. But that is nerve-wracking, like shipping it across the country. Like, oh man, I hope the box stays intact. And like boxes are only so strong.
Yeah, me and Heather had COVID last February, and I ordered a guitar from a place in Georgia. And I didn't tell her, of course. And it came in. She goes, "What the hell's this?" I go, "Nothing." Pull it out. And all these peanuts go all over the place. And I get the evil eye, of course. But that was that one time.
He gets evil-eyed a lot.
And so tell me about some of your musical influences. Who are some of the people that you listen to that you want to try to emulate?
My dad, big time. He played in like a big band back in the day. So my dad died, what, 11 years ago? 12 years ago. And yeah, he did that. He worked for Michigan Bell, and he was the first person in Michigan to hook up a touchtone phone.
Oh yeah. Wow.
So he retired from Michigan Bell and moved up here, and let me back up a little bit. So he played all. I remember living in Utica and watching him band play in the basement.
Yeah.
So when they moved up here, obviously he wasn't making as much money because we're living up north. So he would play gigs to supplement the funds and help family out. But yeah, he's my number one. Just the kind of music that he played, and he had lessons from Gene Krupa. I don't know if you know who that is.
I'm not familiar.
Look him up on YouTube. He's like Buddy Rich, just the old school, like big bands, great drummer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just that style of music is, I just love it. It just takes me home, warm, fuzzy feelings. My fan.
For sure.
So yeah, that Led Zeppelin, I'm a big Zeppelin fan, big Slayer fan, of course. Cannibal
Yeah.
Corpse.
Heck yeah.
Kiss, I love old Kiss.
A lot of good stuff there.
What else?
Beatles.
Oh yeah, Beatles. I like stuff that just takes a little bit of intelligence to make, and I'm not a big radio person.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the radio is dead for me because
Yeah.
there's so many commercials and like they play the same songs over and over and over. And I used to listen to
Why do they?
89X. Yeah, it's just they want the top songs only and nothing else because you'll switch it off, they think.
I remember my brother telling me, he goes, they call it classic rock, but there's a lot of classic rock out there. Why do they play the same classic rock?
Yeah. And then it's overplayed and like you don't want to hear it anymore.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But near me in Metro Detroit, I grew up with 89X, the new rock alternative, and they sold the station and it's now country. So it's like, oh no, that was like the only station I listened to, so I can't even turn on the radio anymore. But that's how it goes. So I just do Spotify now and listen to stuff that way.
You do. I feel a little guilty because I don't think that a lot of the money goes to the artists anymore. And in fact, if you listen to interviews on some of that, you listen to interviews with musicians, it's like a dying career, unfortunately.
Yeah, they make money from merchandise sales and touring, and it's a tough way to do it. I used to buy tons of CDs, but now I can buy, for $10, I can have all of the CDs, which is better for the consumer. But yeah, it's terrible for the artist. They make like 0.003 pennies for 10,000 listens, so it's very difficult. Um,
I just started buying CDs again.
there you go.
Do this. I'm gonna buy CDs. I got a CD player in my moto van, so you know what? So I started collecting live CDs, so live recordings.
Yeah.
But finding some of them ones that I used to have on tape way back when is kind of tough, but it's kind of cool when I find them.
For sure. I just went to I'm a huge concert goer. I've seen over 100 bands live, probably way more than that. But I mean, you go to one show, there might be 4 bands. But the openers you might not know of too much, but time as it goes throughout the night, get closer to the headliners, you usually know more of the bands, and maybe you look up one of the openers and start to like them too. And I went to Grand Rapids with my brother and saw some pretty heavy music, and it was a great time. Like my brother was like, "It's not really my cup of tea, but I'll go and hang out." And there's a lot of moshing going on. There wasn't a whole lot of crowd surfing. I was surprised. But it was attack with exclamations after each attack. So they really haven't played in a while. They kind of went away, but rejoined for another go at it for another tour. And
you post a lot of bands that are very underground. Like I've never heard of them before.
Yeah, I have a very unique taste of music. Like I don't listen to the radio, so you go down these rabbit holes of music. You're like, oh, I like that artist. What about this one? That he's related to that one. Let me check that one out. And you end up finding stuff you really do love, and it's not like Katy Perry or Taylor Swift. It's like what you like. Not to say that those are bad. Those they have their time and place.
Yep.
But I wanted to ask you, I wrote down a few questions. I don't usually write down questions, but where do you think up north starts for Michigan?
Up north starts at West Branch.
West Branch, that's the eliminator, that's the separator.
Yep, because it's an hour 57 minutes from West Branch to here, and from West Branch north, there's nothing on I-75. Pine trees. You get to look at trees. That's it.
I like when it changes to 75 miles an hour.
Yes.
Then you can go 85, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So the place I work for, they have GPS on their trucks.
Oh no.
So unfortunately, if you speed, of course, then the boss gets the alert and all that stuff. So when I get in my own truck or vehicle or whatever, it's kind of nice to open her up a little bit. Of course, some of the guys that I used to ride with that would drive down to the track with would probably say that I'm lying, because I usually went under the speed limit to keep my gas mileage low.
Yeah.
We ever gonna get here? I go, we have a 24 miles a gallon right now, dude. So fun.
I can't drive 55. Yeah, it does help your gas mileage, but I'm like, my time is valuable too. I want to get there as fast as possible. Um, so how many bikes are in the stable right now, would you say?
I just got another project just the other day. Oh, let me think. What? One. I still got my GSXR.
Okay.
I did take it up the road once last summer. So I got that. My 94 125 that I rebuilt. My '08 KTM. My 18 450. My 21 YZ 250. And I got RD 200. So what? 7?
All right. That's pretty good.
Picked up a 97 CR 125 basket case. It's in rough shape. I started pulling it apart tonight, and I posted a bunch of pictures on Instagram, so everybody will probably get sick of seeing all my rebuild posts and stuff. But yeah, I did. I think the last time I talked to you, I was still working on my 94, trying to get that one back together, and that thing turned out. That bike is beautiful. It's really turned out nice. I bought that, or I'm sorry, I bought my new YZ 250 right around the time that I got my 94 CR 125 running.
Okay.
And I 125, that old bike, more than my new bike.
Yeah.
So
Heck
much
yeah.
fun.
There you go. And what kind of dog you got in the background?
We got rough cut collie.
All
and
right.
we have healthy collie.
Nice. Went the collie route.
Yes. Yep. The little Sheltie is my little buddy. That dog. I've never been like a big dog person, but that little dog stole my damn heart.
Yeah, they tend to do that.
She's my buddy. We do everything together.
I've always wanted a dog, but I travel too much to warrant having one. So one of these days, if I ever settle down, I either hire someone to watch it or I'll get a dog.
Yeah.
But yeah, one year we were gonna get, when I was a kid, probably elementary, middle school. Like I have always wanted one, so beat my parents up. Can we get one? Can we get one? And then we were looking into one. We went to the store and looked at dogs, and then Christmas time came around and we got rabbits. It's like, oh,
Same.
It's furry and fluffy and has pointy ears, but and some rabbits, I guess, are really cool and they come up to you and like want to play or want to be pet. But these, we had like I don't know, one was a pointy ear, one was like a floppy ear. I don't know the brand or the breed, but they just wanted to run and hide and go under the couch and poop in the corner. I'm like, this is not great. They're so skittish, like very scaredy cat.
We had one rabbit one time when the girls were young, but it was in the cage most of the time. It just didn't make sense. So
yeah,
back with the cat and dog route.
yeah. And unfortunately, the coolest cat I ever had, Ninja, he's no longer here. He got hit by a car. Unfortunately, he was an indoor outdoor cat, and he just probably jumped in front of a car or something and went splat. But I waited a few months and I got a new cat, Luna. I just pretty much call her Kitty, but I got a new kitty, and she used to be very skittish. Like she would just hide in the corner, and same thing. Maybe it's just me. I don't know, but but she's coming around. She's getting more used to things and climbing the cat tree, and it's just nice to have a little furry creature running around.
Little buddy, you can take him out to Vegas with you?
I guess that's the idea. I don't plan on getting rid of her, so I guess you put her on an airplane, or I'll probably, when I make my main move, take her that way and drive out there. I don't know how I'm gonna do that yet. It's like, what do I have to get rid of? What am I not taking with me? It's like I have a whole house full of stuff now, and I don't plan on having a garage when I get there, because most of the places in Vegas, it's like a little higher cost of living because they don't make anything there. Everything has to be shipped in. And the houses with garages are more expensive than they are here. So I would expect I'll be getting some sort of apartment or maybe duplex or something like that. That's maybe adjoined, so I don't probably won't have as much space for everything. I'm a whatever it takes kind of guy. So if it takes me moving halfway across the country and take half my stuff with me, like I don't really care about my couch. I don't really care about my coffee table. It doesn't matter to me. It's just a thing. I've always been very minimalist. So if I get a 1 bedroom studio apartment, I would be okay with that if I get to coach people driving Ferraris all day or Porsche, whatever. Like it's like a dream job. How can I say no to this? So unfortunately, they're not paying for travel expenses, so it's going to cost like thousands of dollars to get one of those pods and ship it all over there. And so, like, do I sell my washer and dryer? Like, do I sell both motorcycles? Like, I'm going to be riding and driving at the track every day anyway. So, do I need a supermoto? Yeah, it'd be nice to have around town, but like, that's another $4,000 or $5,000 right there that could pay for the move.
Right.
So trying to weigh all the options and trying to sell everything, I guess. See where that takes me. You can always buy it again when you get there.
Exactly. Easy come, easy go, buddy.
Yep. And like I keep thinking like if my house was burning right now, what would I take with me? There's probably like a handful of things that I really care about. Do I really care about like the blender in the box I haven't used for 6 months? Like there's so many things I have that I guess I'm fortunate to have these things, but like I don't need 4 Rubik's cubes and like all these different things. So
You need 30 cars though, damn it.
I have at least 2. I have electric and an acoustic, and I was like, okay, I should stop there at selling the rest of the instruments. And I did buy, although I haven't really got around to it. I just moved it today a little bit to get to something else. But I played the piano years ago, and I was pretty good, but I pretty much forgot all of that. So my muscle memory has faded for the piano. But I was like, about a year or two ago, I bought a piano, and it was like a MIDI M audio piano. It was a pretty good one. You could hook up to your computer, and I realized that I don't want to have to use my computer every time I play the piano. It's kind of like an involved thing. You got to upload the software and turn it on. And it takes a minute, like not super quick. So I sold that one. I just returned it, and I got a new one. That's I couldn't tell you the brand, but it's a full size piano that folds up in four spots. So it has 3 hinges on it, and it's like a backpack piano. You could take it wherever. You can also plug it in to your computer, but it's not dependent on your computer. So it's pretty compact, and you can take it on a plane. It's very very portable. So that was something I was looking for, because it's like I don't want to put it on my podcast table and have to move it every time I want to play. That's kind of irritating. So that's something I want to do. I got so many interests, man. There's not enough time.
Yeah, I hear you. Hey, man. Too many hobbies.
Yeah. I wish my hobbies started paying me money, but that's why this could be a paying gig. I'm trying to get podcast sponsors now. It's like I reach X amount of audience. I have probably over 50,000 views on YouTube by now. So it's like that's not nothing. Like there could be X company who might want a 15, 30-second, 60-second ad. And then I broke it down where if you buy 5 episodes for this amount of time, you get a discount. If you buy 10, there's a discount. So, start out small and grow from there.
Should talk to Sport Bike Track Gear, see if they want to pitch in.
Maybe I definitely could. I know Brian. I worked for him for a couple of years. So
looks like Max is doing pretty good, huh?
He is. He's killing it out there. He's crashing a little bit here, but he's I don't know exactly where in the championship, but yeah, it's cool to see local home guys do well.
That is cool.
There's a bunch of Michigan guys who are up and comers, I think, and Michigan is back on the map, I'd say.
That's good. Then we have Carl. We always have Carl.
Carl Soltis, send it. Damn it, Carl.
Hey, is Cart to Cart still having their winter series going on over there?
Cart to Cart doesn't exist anymore.
No way.
Yeah,
Wow.
it got bought out by another company. Actually, it's still there. They still do karting and all that, but it's under FTAP, Full Throttle Adrenaline Park. And FTAP has it's like a franchise, so they have multiple locations. I think they might have 5 or 6 locations throughout the country, not just the state. So it's pretty much the same thing, just corporate now.
So are they still letting the bikes in there in the wintertime or?
They did up until February, and I had bought a couple sessions to use for a Great Lakes Supermoto through Cart to Cart at the time, and then that facility is not a purpose-built facility for karting. It is a warehouse that they turned into a karting facility that the carts have way less emissions than they do when 60 mini bikes come in for a track day or a race event. So all that smoke set off the carbon monoxide warnings and the alarms. And fire department came and shut them down and said you can't do this anymore until you upgrade your air filtration or all that stuff. So they don't do it right now. But it's about to be winter, so we'll see what happens if they finally upgraded everything. That was almost a year ago.
It's always a bummer of like mine because I live so far up here that we miss out on like all the concerts and shit that go on down there. We don't have any of that up here.
Yeah, it's probably much more spread out. You're in Gaylord?
Yeah, there's nothing going on up here.
Is that Otsego?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I live about a mile away from the lake.
Okay. You just have a totally different vibe up there.
Yes. It's a little bit of white trash vibe.
Yeah, isn't it? I find it so interesting why there's so much literal trash in people's yards. Like, what are you doing? Like, what's going on here?
I don't get it, man. It's like people's pride is just going right down the toilet. Man, clean that shit up.
At least you got like usually a larger space between the houses when you're up there.
Yeah, I live in the woods, so I got good neighbors. That's all I can say.
That's really good. One thing I'm not gonna miss about Michigan is the cold weather. Like I love snowboarding, I love snow sports, but I'd rather travel to the snow than live in the snow. And I live next to a main road, like 50 feet away is Hall Road, M59. So it's loud as hell. Like I go other places and I'm like, oh, it's quiet here. People look at me funny. Like, no, I mean, like my house is so loud all the time. I'm surprised people can't hear it with this microphone. But I've changed some of the settings, so it should filter out some of those things. But still, it's like, man, I think you're more stressed because you're hearing all that all the time. Like it's just a droning noise all the time that you try to forget about. You try not to think about it, but it's always kind of there. There's like trucks J-braking and ambulances. And like I feel like I'm in New York City. Like it's just constant. And then all the time there's accidents right out in front of my house, or not too long ago there's a car fire like 100 feet away from my house. I'm like, is that going to catch my house on fire? Like I'm kind of nervous right now. And so yeah, it's something I'm not going to miss is being right next to the main road.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to retirement, so we're not up here during the winter. It's only about 3 months that I would really like to get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
I'll be here for when the snow comes and when the snow leaves, and then because there's really nothing better than northern Michigan summers, man. It's I don't know.
Not too hot, not too cold.
Yep.
Kind of right in the middle there.
Yep.
You can do a lot of dirt biking in the summertime. It seems like a good place to do it. All the ORV trails.
Yeah, literally, I can leave my house and go hit some trails.
That's great.
So that's cool. And then my family, my oldest brother has been racing motocross for as long as I can remember. When we were living in Utica, he was racing. So when I was 2-3 years old, I remember going to the races down there and watching him race.
Yeah.
So tracks are pretty plentiful for us up here still. So yeah, it has its benefits. I mean, every place has good things and bad things. So
there's always a trade-off, it seems like.
Yep.
You can never have it all unless you just have a helicopter you can fly to the next place.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be nice.
But what's on your mind today? Is anything you wanted to talk about?
Just like I said, I wanted to bring Heather up here so she could give her view on the whole racing thing. I think she's happy that I finally come to grips where I know that I'm not going to be racing anymore. There's still times where it's like, man, I feel like I could line up and do a race. And then the more I think about it, no, you can't. You just can't.
Well, I mean, you could race, just not at 100%. You still have your
I
leathers, right?
still have my leathers, still have all my gear. Like I still have my generator, my warmers, everything. I can load up and go to the track right now if I want to.
Yeah.
Of course, my leathers are probably a little tighter in the middle.
Yeah.
But
Gotta stretch them out.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. 54 years old, so I need to even riding the trails now. I don't ride as hard as I used to. I go, it's not a race. I'm out here to enjoy riding my bike. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the ground hurts a lot, no matter how old you are. And one of my buddies crashed on his street bike the other day. He said he wasn't even going that fast, but there were leaves on like uh like a cobblestone pavement. So super low grip, and it just the rear end stepped out, and he went right over. And he said, "Thank God I was wearing my helmet because my face, he would have been in the ICU." He said my helmet was almost like crushed in where he landed and how he landed. So he's like, "Man, I can't imagine doing that at 100 miles an hour." It's
yeah, you can, can't you?
you definitely can, but it doesn't feel good. The ground is really hard.
Oh, I crashed probably doing about 35. I didn't crash as fast as what you were going, but yeah it comes.
Yeah. And in all the crashes I've had, there's only one bad one. Um, I think I've maybe crashed 17 times on the track, in all the different years I've been racing. But some of them are like you fall over at 3 miles an hour in the gravel trap, but your handlebar touched the ground. Does that count? I mean, kind of, right?
Yeah. I remember going into the bus stop and I hit neutral.
Oh no.
Bus stop at Grattan, and I hit neutral and instantly made my bike go straight up, and I went off the track and I went right out. That was one of my dumb crashes.
Well, I mean, the neutral one is what I'm all too familiar with. I haven't crashed because of hitting a false neutral, but it can definitely cause one if you're not expecting it, or you don't know what to do, or you don't react quick enough, or the bike is just unsettled enough, then it washes out. I've had it happen a couple times riding Kawasaki's. They're notorious for bad transmissions. Unfortunately, I love them, but that's one of their not strong points. They're weak points. And I think one time Barber turn one, it did it. And you're coming down that hill, you're expecting that back pressure, and it's not there. You're like, well, it's got to come from somewhere else. And usually that's the front wheel, and you're already overloading the front wheel, and it just pushes. It feels like it's pushing you into the corner because you're not slowing down now.
Right.
But use that runoff if you can.
Yeah. Unfortunately, grass is really slick.
It's like water.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's about an hour and a half, so I could probably cut it there. So thanks for talking to me again for that year and a half recap, and maybe I'll get back with you in another year or so.
All right. Well, good luck in Vegas, and I'm sure I'll keep up with you.
Very good, man. Talk to you soon, and I'll see you at the racetrack.
All right. Talk to you later.
Bye. Hi, my name is Eric Swahn. I'm highly involved in the motorsports industry. I own and operate ESR, EricSwahnRacing. ESR has many parts. I sell racing parts online, have a podcast with over 100 episodes. I'm a sponsored professional level racer, work as a motorcycle riding coach for multiple organizations, a race official, motorcycle test rider, and produce marketing and advertising for businesses. After hundreds of hours of podcasting, I'm interested in using my voice commercially for broadcasting, audiobooks, commercials, voice acting, and other opportunities that may arise. Please consider using me, Eric Swahn, for your next audio voiceovers. Head over to EricSwahnRacing.com for more information.